Welcome to the 30-Minute Hour. It's the personal development podcast for entrepreneurs and executive leaders who are looking to level up and become unstoppable. I'm your host, Eric Twiggs, your procrastination prevention partner. Joining me as always, you know him as the super CEO, the business strategist extraordinaire, and all around good guy, Ted Fells.
Happy Monday.
Yes, it is indeed a happy Monday. Again, this is one of those episodes where you may think that, hey, you know what? I've got this challenge. I've got that challenge. I can't accomplish this because of that. This is going to eliminate any excuse.
Any excuses?
Right?
This is a no excuse episode.
Oh, man. I'm telling you. And I think it'll also kind of put your challenges and your problems and the things that you think are going bad for you. It'll really put clear perspective on what's going on. So today we're going to talk about how to transform your challenges into opportunities. That's going to be the theme of our show. And our guest, I just had Ted. We just got to get right to it. I mean, this is
jump on into it.
Let me tell you, Ted. Let me tell you. I was I do like a little pre-show interview with people before they come on, and I'm talking to her, and she's telling me this stuff, and I'm like, like what? Wait, hold on. Back up. Did you say it? Can you say that again? So I've been looking forward to this episode for a while. So our guest, she's had multiple near-death and out-of-body experiences that have shaped her perspective and ultimately shifted her focus. Matter of fact, she faced a life-threatening 70-day battle with COVID, where she says she should have died.
Wow.
But she's a 15-time best-selling author, and she's launched 11 different startups. She's the CEO of Holly Porter International. She empowers her clients to transform their challenges into opportunities. Please join me in welcoming to the show, Holly Porter.
Thank you.
Holly.
We're gonna have
Hey, Holly. Absolutely. Yeah. Welcome to the show. It's truly an honor to have you on. Let's just get right to it. Can you share? Just tell us about your journey. Tell us about the near-death and out-of-body experiences, and ultimately how they shaped you into who you are today.
Well, sure. Well, in many, many ways. I mean, we all get our challenges. I've had lots all my life, just like many of us have, but this was definitely the game changer for me in many, many ways. So yeah, I actually had COVID for about a week before I even went to the hospital for 70 days. It was crazy. I was in two different care facilities, ICU level, until the last 2 weeks before I was out. And they were trying to send me to a third. And I'm just like, I wasn't having it. I was begging them. I mean, that's all. I was 50 days on a ventilator, about 32 days in a coma total, in and out, 63 on a feeding tube. And I was done. I had to learn how to do everything again. So when you're in that space and they put you in a coma, I learned a lot of things, and more after this experience, because when I was in it, I wasn't really present physically that much. I was more somewhere else, which was kind of a cool experience. And I'm thankful because at one time I lost all 5 senses. So with COVID, you lose your taste and smell. Which, better, right? If you've lost those, you know what I mean. And not like I was eating, I had a feeding tube going in me, but I couldn't smell anything. When you're in a coma, when you're on a ventilator, they tie your hands to the bed. I don't know if people understand that. So you don't pull your ventilator out. Not like I had any desire to at all, because it was saving my life and making me breathe. And then I'm legally blind without correction. And so I couldn't see who anyone was unless they were about 8 inches in front of my face. And everybody was wearing yellow hat, yellow mask, yellow gown. So they all looked the same except the eyes. And then hearing, 90% of my hearing was taken away being on the ventilator. Nobody could explain why, but it sounded like the child, if you're old enough to understand or remember the Charlie Brown school teacher, wah, wah, wah. That's what everybody sounded like to me. So the fact that I was in a coma a lot of that time was a blessing for me. I had some great experience. I had some crazy experiences. I had some scary experiences and some divine experiences. So I am grateful. However, there was a lot. So I don't know where you want to unpack all that. I could explain though real quick just for your listeners to understand, because I didn't know this until about 2 years ago, that there are three experiences. There's out of body experiences, which is like similar to astral traveling. You can get there in meditation. You can do that on your own. There's a STE, which is a spiritual transformation experience, similar to an NDE, but it's usually something where you're present and you're seeing something instead of going somewhere. At least for me, that's how it was. I thought it was another near death experience, but then I learned it was a spiritual one. And then there's an NDE, which is your near death experience, when you either are dead or you're very, very close to being dead. And that's when you experience this. And a lot of people get that. We hear a lot of the similar stories. They get a choice if they want to stay or come. Obviously, people that decide to stay, we don't see again. So we can't chat with them to find out what that was like. But I didn't get a choice. I was kind of mad about that, actually, because I never was afraid to die. And I would have probably stayed where I was because it was way better than here. Anyway, that being said, you just ask me any questions. I am an open book and I'm happy to share.
Wow. Yeah. So the divine experience you mentioned, tell us more about that.
So the spiritual one, the near death divine too. So the spiritual one's a pretty fast one to tell. Basically, let's see. So I was not doing very well in the hospital, and my cousin had text. She lives in Arizona. We live in Utah. She had text a message to my sister. One or the other was their twins, and they were staying with me 24/7 because my husband had COVID. We had the Delta version, which was far worse than any of the others. And so he was home on oxygen, never had to go to the hospital, but couldn't see him for 3.5 weeks. So she sends a text to them and just said, I wouldn't normally have this conversation on a text because it was spiritual for her. But she said, I feel like Holly needs to hear this. I hear she's not doing very well right now. So they read it to me, and it was basically her spiritual experience about praying for my husband and I, and then feeling all these spirits around her. She's more of a feeler. I'm more visual. Just side note. And so one by one, she got all the names given to her, and she was saying all this in the text. Well, shortly after that, because I was not doing well, they put me back in a coma and sedated me. And a lot of times you're paralyzed coma. There's both where you're paralyzed and not, just so you don't move at all whatsoever, because that's how you heal. And I remember being really angry. Like it's really weird to think I had this big spiritual experience, but I was so ticked off because I was mad. She was my cousin, and I was mad that she got that experience and I didn't. I was the one laying there suffering, and that wasn't fair. And I was giving this little pout chat to God about it, how I was not happy about it at all. And be careful what you wish for, because I was also laying there thinking a lot of days, why am I going through this? Like, what? You're thinking, am I going to die? Is this what's going to take me out? I never thought I would live to be very old. So I just figured, okay, this is how I'm going to go out, I guess. I never was sick before, hardly ever. I'd maybe get a cold once a year. So I was super healthy going into this. I wasn't autoimmune, whatever, it was weird. I got it so bad. And I'm laying there thinking, is this the legacy? Did I leave a legacy? What am I leaving? You're having all these thoughts because you're bargaining, right? And the next thing I know, my mom came to me. She had passed on about 1.5 years prior from Parkinson's. And she came to me a lot. She was on my right side every time. And she would sit with me. And this particular time she came, and I'm in my bed. And there's lots of stories with me and my bed. In fact, a chapter in my book is called Me and My Bed, because I'll tell you that in a few minutes. But I'm laying there, and she came and she said, it's not your time to go, and you need to fight. And so when she said that, I remember that word. I didn't really like the word fight. And as soon as she said it, above my bed, all these passed on relatives, aunts, uncles, grandparents. I had a brother and sister-in-law that died in really bad car wrecks. I had a grandbaby that had just passed away about 6 weeks or 6 months before at 2 days old, but she was an adult. That was what was cool, is I knew it was her. So they come in white and they all appear before me and they start chanting fight, fight, fight. And every time that word would get chanted, a whole nother row of people would just come in front of them, or not in front of them, in back of them. And now they're all in street clothes. Yeah, it's my husband and it's the siblings and my kids and everybody, dad, everybody. And it kept going back and back and back. So I would say there were thousands. I mean, just as far as I could see, and all these people I didn't even know, which now I look back and think, oh my gosh, those were probably all the people praying for me. They were probably all the people on prayer lists all over the world. Everything was shut down. Not everything was shut down, but it wasn't opened up in 2021 at that time where that people were hanging on to social media. That was the only source of people to get information on me. So I was on a ton of prayer lists all over the world. And I think that's where those people, and it was like, they just kept coming and kept coming. But as they chanted that, I was so comforted. I knew that's all I needed to know. I just needed to know, okay, you're going to live. Like that was my message. You're going to live, but you have to fight. And it wasn't easy, still isn't easy. But I lived and here we are. And it was a long road back. But that was just such a defining moment and a special experience. I thought I got to see all that. Especially my grandbaby. It was fun to see her as an adult. It's really special.
Incredible, just incredible. So I'm curious. I mean, like, how did this experience like shape how you approach life afterwards?
Oh, so much differently. I will share though, and I've heard this story told by others as well that experienced things similar. My life got worse before it got better. So for 2 years, it's been, going on 4 now. It's for 2 years after, I can tell you it was 10 times every worst experience I'd ever had. Divorces, we had a company embezzled on, anything bad that had ever happened in my life, times it by 10, maybe it would touch the tip of the iceberg of the literal hell that I felt like I was going through. Every relationship except a few close friends and a couple family members, my husband, were jeopardized. It's like you would think people would gravitate towards you because you almost died and they almost lost you and they, want to tuck you in a little closer. And it was like I repelled people. It was the weirdest thing. Those are all better now. I would say, 50 to 80% of those relationships, I'm a little more guarded now because there's trust issues there. I never had those before. I trusted everybody. But when you go through something and you go through hard times, I guess you really see what people are really like. And maybe that was it. It was maybe I was just vibrating. I feel like I was vibrating at a higher level, but acting at a way lower level. So there was just so much imbalance with the whole situation. After I got out of that, though, it did not end well. We were in a lot of things, some chaos with some grandkids, and lost basically a couple of grandkids. That now time has passed, I realized those were hard lessons I had to learn in order to do the philanthropy work and the things I'm going to do still to come. I had to learn those. I had to go through those hard times. I get that at the time. So I'm just saying, when people are in hard times, just know time is a healer and things do get better. I mean, if they get worse, there's a reason for it. So we just have to be open to, God's my higher plan, whatever that is for anyone else, but we just have to be open to something, something greater than us making these decisions. But I got out of it. I was just coming out of it when I decided to get a hypnosis session. I had been trained in hypnosis years before, so I asked my teacher if he would do one on my NDE. I had the out of body, I had the spiritual, all those memories were there, but my NDE had what I call skips or gaps in it. And I felt like out of integrity for my book that it just seemed right to see if I could uncover any more. Because with the COVID fog, it's so real, and there was just things that were weird that were just missing. So that experience explains so much more. It kind of gave me I had the beginning of the ND, but I was missing the middle, and then I had the end. So everything I remembered was really good, going and stuff, but it was all the middle stuff. And I was really grateful I did that. I was told in that by the hypnotist, which was not his words. He said, more will be revealed to you when the time is right. When I'm ready to hear it, I will listen. And I loved that. I'm at such peace with that, which if you know me, that's not my personality. I like to know everything. There's a surprise. I want to know what it is if I know there's one coming. But if you just surprise me, it's okay. So knowing that there's things, I'm okay with that. I don't think I could have handled all the things that I could have known. And there was some really cool symbols that came in there. There was, for instance, a tree that showed up in this session. And just to tell you, so I was told in my near death, I was told to start a nonprofit called Adventure Bucket Wish Foundation. And I wasn't really given any more instructions than that. I was told not to partner with my company, Retreat R&R. It was a concept, but it wasn't incorporated or anything. I pitched the day I got COVID, found out I had COVID, to a company that I was going to partner with, and they had a billionaire backer. And I was told, don't partner with them. In my coma, I was told, do not partner with them. And it's not the highest and best thing to do.
I'm like, wow, are you sure about that?
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be the question
right? Right. It's taking me a
long
time.
Did I say a billion? Did I say a billionaire potential partner?
That's what's a B.
Right. I know. But it's okay. I again, you find out things later, and then you're like grateful that you listened. And the point is listen to your intuition. So I did. I listened, and in the hypnosis, I saw a tree. And so I had created, when we were doing the branding for the Retreat R&R company, I shared with them, and I didn't know why. I didn't question why. I said it needs to have a tree in the logo. And when the tree came back, it had 11 leaves and 11 roots, which is 1, 1, 1, 1. My birthday's 1, 1. I got out of the hospital on 11, 11. So there was all these synchronicities, but the tree for me gave me more hope at that time. I had just come out of this 2 years of awful. And it was like God saying to me, you created that logo for that company, not even remembering that tree was in this near-death experience. Mm-hmm. And that meant a lot to me. The second thing that I saw was when I got to the light again, because I was in the in-between when all this was happening. I got to the light, and there was all this matter on both sides. And the in-between, it was like not dark, not light. But all the matter, when it would finally form together, it would form a heart, and then everything migrated to the left, which was the light. And we all are attracted to the light. Nobody wants to be in the dark. And so when I saw that again and saw they were like rose-colored quart hearts, that look. And remember the two companies I was told to do, I saw the tree for the retreat company. And then in the nonprofit was called Adventure Bucket Wish Foundation. And when we did our first gala fundraiser for that, in each little gift bag I gave out, I knew it had to have a rose-colored heart in it. I put one in every one. No one questioned it. I didn't question it. I just did it. And when I saw that in this hypnosis session, it was just, they were just blessings to me, because it was just like, you did this again without remembering. You need to keep going. Like, you're doing the right thing. Stay on the right path. Don't get discouraged. There's lots of days we all get discouraged, but it's just listening for those nudges, because they're there for everyone to have.
Wow. So you've gone on, you've launched 11 startups. So let's talk about that. I mean,
Sure.
What were some of the turning point? Was there any failure or loss in that became a turning point for you?
Always. So number 10 and 11 is the nonprofit and the retreat company. Those are 10 and 11. Before that, and there was other little companies, other little things I partnered with my kids on. I didn't even count those. Those are little. I never built like $1 billion company. That's what I expect Retreat R&R to be. That's the goal, so that I can have money to do all my philanthropy work that I want to do. But before it, I followed, like, we have 8 adult children now and 18 grandkids. And so when they were little, I still had to provide some money for the family. And in between that, I had some divorce and was a single parent and again had to be the provider. So I ran a daycare business, and then I had a preschool business, then I had a children's clothing store. So those three were like when my kids were growing up, so I could be present for them more. And then the longest ones I've had was we've had a construction company, a concrete company. That was my husband's. We've been married almost 24 years, so he had that prior. He's done it for about 40 years now. We had that one, and then I had a salon and spa, and I was licensed for esthetician, nails, hair instructor, whatever. And so 20 years I had that, but I always had probably 3 or 4 different companies going at a time, which isn't the brightest thing to do. But they crossed over, and we had a fundraising company. Then I got my broker's license for real estate and did that part. Went doing the salon like part time. Did real estate, and I've done that for 20 years. I don't even know. I'm not even counting.
Holly,
Yeah,
I am tired.
I'm tired too.
Like, I'm just listening to you. I'm like, wow. Like, you're definitely that person to invite to the dinner party. Because you got some, man, I'm listening to all these different things. I'm like, man, I'm amazing. Amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's been a lot.
Oh, man.
That's how we grow.
So you're like the definition of a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
Like you had a lemonade stand growing up.
I even I had my kids set up to do shave ice. They did the snack shack at the ball field. Oh, you bet. My kids, most of them are entrepreneurs as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. So you're a retreat strategist, right? Can you kind of describe to everybody what that is and what exactly you do with these retreats?
Yeah. So Retreat R&R is the first tech company that I've created. And I think I got a little carried away with the shiny objects. I have that going on for sure in certain things and have to reel myself back in. And I got excited about the tech piece of it. So the software part, the SaaS company, which is software as a service, is a booking and hosting site for retreat leaders. So picture Airbnb, but for retreats. So that is in development still. We need lots of money to finish that. So we're in a race for that. The first of this year, though, I thought, okay, wait a minute. Why didn't I split my phase 1 and phase 2? Because phase 2 had a real estate aspect, which would have been easy for me in the beginning. And it's a whole nother division. The softwares are not connected. One's to buy luxury retreat properties for people, and that eventually they'll be all over the world. Right now we're staying kind of in our area because that's where I'm licensed, and people can come in by fractional real estate. If they don't want to live there or run it, then we connect them with retreat leaders that can come and run retreats there. So it's a niche that really I don't see being fulfilled by anybody. The software, back to that, is sitting right now. Just like I said, it's in development, just waiting for more funds. And that one's really needed as well. Like when we first came up with the idea, there wasn't really anything that filled that need. I've seen a few things pop up since, which don't scare me because I always feel like competition's a good thing. It just makes everybody better, and nothing's wrong with everybody being better. So I'm kind of watching to see what they're doing, and then I'll have interviews and things with people using their platform. What don't you like? What works well? What doesn't work well? And make sure that as we're building ours, that we kind of check off more boxes, make it good.
This is interesting. So now how do you help people turn like their pain into purpose through this retreat format?
I think just so the other message I came back with, and I didn't get the full message. I got it about love. You'll hear a lot of people say that, have NDE stories about the love they felt and witnessed. Mine, I didn't get the rest of it. I always say the rest of the story is coming. So I was told, love them where they're at. And if I would have had the rest of that message before my 2 years happened, I would have handled those situations a lot differently, probably better. And I might not have found myself in those situations because if you take the judgment away with that and knowing that's just who that person is, that's all they know, that's where they are in life, and don't judge them, you react differently. And
Mm.
I think I would give that advice to people is stop and think. Like I'll tell you a little story. I shared that message with a therapist when I went to San Juan on a business cruise this last year, and we stayed up really late one night, and I was telling him all these stories, kind of similar to what we're talking about, and he just said how much almost hate, he might even use the word hate, he had towards rapists and people that abuse and all these things because he had worked in that industry for like 30 years. And I told him that story, about my message. And that whole rest of the time we were there, he would message me, "You changed my life. Like my whole perception is different looking at this. You're right. It's not me to judge. And I just need to love people where they're at." And he says, "I'm working on it." But it was just like almost like a light switch for him. And I just think that's such a powerful message to have that I wish I would have had those 2 years, but that's okay. Take it when you get it. And
Mhm.
more will be revealed when the time is right.
Right, right. So what other advice do you have for people? Because people are going through challenges. It's a business challenge. It's a family challenge. It's some unforeseen thing that they're dealing with, and they may not see their way out. Based off of
Yeah.
your experiences, I mean, what advice do you have for that person who's watching us now, who's in a valley, and they want to transform their challenge to an opportunity like you did?
Okay. Well, one of the first things I would say is I don't feel like we take advantage of our own, I'm going to say personal revelation, which is really your intuition. Like, that gut feeling that you get. Everybody has it. And when we're not paying attention to it, it's there. If we will just stay still. I was told that by many people I was put in a coma so that I would sit still and listen to what I needed to do. And even when I get relapses with my long COVID, I realized just a couple months ago, oh my gosh, that's the message being taught to me again is, all right, you're a little off track. I'm going to give you a little relapse so you can remember why you need to sit still because there's some things you need to listen to. So
Mm.
I would say if people will just back down and just sit still. I'm not a very good meditator because my mind goes 100 miles an hour, and that's okay because we're creatives. But also know what kind of personality style you are because I think in your personality style, it's gonna what I could say I would do and what my husband, for instance, would do. We're totally opposites. He's an introvert and I'm an extrovert. So I think knowing that about yourself, are you a verbalizer? So if you're going through something really hard right now, is there somebody you need to talk to because you just need to talk? And sometimes for someone like me that wants to fix everything for everybody and problem solve all the time, sometimes somebody just needs to vent. And I think having that, again, gut feeling, that discernment, is this just something they need to say and I don't need to say anything back? I just need to sit back and take it in and listen, or vice versa. And I think understanding and being aware of people's needs, game changer. I think it can get you out of situations so much faster. And I feel like just that 2 years of learning for me shifted a lot. It's just it really is all about listening.
So, you know what? I can't get out of my mind, Holly. This thing about how you had this mountaintop spiritual experience, and then all of a sudden things got worse before they
Yeah.
got better. And what I find is a lot of times that's the case, right? A lot of
Mhm.
times when you
Mhm.
you get a revelation, you have
Yeah.
this spiritual insight, and you get this clarity, and it's almost like a test. Can
Mhm.
you please expound on what do you really feel the significance is of things? Because I didn't expect that in your story, right? You don't
Yeah.
expect that. You fight, fight,
Mhm.
fight. You're having that experience, and then all of a sudden, you come through it, and everything just gets worse. Can you talk about what's the significance of that?
Yeah. Well, I'm one that takes action quickly. And so that would apply like if there's a situation, well, like in my situation, a big part of it was over some grandkids. And I think that mama bear, because I had custody of them a couple times, 3 times for one of them. And I think that it just, that instinct mama bear protector came out in me. And I just, it was like claws are out. I mean, there's so many things I look back and go, why did I react that way? Why did I do that? I'm not proud of it. But it's like, how could I not? Like, it's like shame on me for doing it and shame on me for not doing it in my situation. It didn't end well for us. I mean, we basically lost custody of one of my grandsons to a brother of mine, which was the weirdest thing. It's like, how could DCFS do this? Like, there was no rhyme or reason to any of it, other than now I look back. The other grandson's in a boys' home right now that I've had custody of 3 times, and I mean, there's so many details to it, but I know it's like I would never choose to have that situation again given to me, but I know with my work later that's coming, how many sons and grandsons am I going to be able to save because I lost mine? That lesson. So I think it's just really people realizing, why are you going through that? And a lot of time when you're in it, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to listen. I mean, for me, I remember my sister, she's the calm one. And, she just said, I pray that you can find some peace. She just said that several times to me. I mean, I cried every day for 2 years. I'm not a crier. I probably more now after all this has happened. I am a little more sensitive to things for sure, for good reason. But I can tell you, I've had a crazy of this last year, lots of changes in our lives, and I am so at peace. Like, to feel that feeling where I finally am like, okay, like whatever's going to happen, whatever's next, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to freak out. Like, that's not my demeanor, is not calm. And so that has shifted so much for me, and it feels so good. It just feels good to be at that place where when she said peace, I'm not even sure. I mean, sure, I've felt peace in my life over the years, but like, to feel it all the time, just be at peace and just know I can only change me. I can't change anyone else. I can't change any other outcomes except by the actions I do, maybe, or contribute to. But I don't know. I hope that answered it for you.
It sounds like, when you went through everything that you went through, and there's always, as we're going through things, there's that uncertainty.
Yeah.
And you have your faith and all that, and you feel you're gonna, but then there's that human side of you, that there's that uncertainty. And it sounds like the things that you went through, right? And got to the other side of that. I mean, you probably feel like there's probably nothing that, that you can't get through, right? That you've been through places that, people are fearful of, life, death, and, financial situations, and like those things that people are like, oh no, if that happens, like, that's the end. Like, you kind of have dealt with that, and so now you're probably like, yeah, this right here, everything else is kind of, it's doable. Yeah. It's doable.
We're here such a short time of the big perspective, if you believe in anything after. And I will say, if anyone's listening, there's no reason to fear death. There really isn't. It's a great place. And I think we just need to be here and be in the moment, live the best life we can, be the best person that you know how to be. That's different for everybody because of how we were brought up, how we've been raised and taught. But there is a difference between right and wrong. And I think most people know that. And so I think the majority of people in the world really, they want to be good. I mean, even probably bad people want to be good. They just don't know how. And we just need to, we don't have to know how to do everything. We just need to surround ourselves with people that know how, because they'll get us there. Like, take their hand and run.
Oh, for sure.
That's interesting. I always say that I truly believe there's more good people than not good people. And I think if you go through life with that mindset, right, you're thinking of the glass is half full versus half empty. Because there's some people that just everything is half empty. Like everything, like they're coming to get me. this person and everything. Like they're not thinking about you, man. Like everybody's thinking about you.
Next time you have that thought, remember, love them where they're at, and see if that'll shift a little bit of that thinking.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
So talk to us about some of the daily habits or disciplines that you have in place to keep yourself in the right mindset and moving in the right direction.
Oh, well, I love schedules. I'm not the best at keeping them. I love to make goals, but I don't necessarily always go back and look at them to see if I'm on track. I think that's part of, for me, it's just doing it. It's part of the manifestation part of it for me. If it's there, if you have it set, even if it's in your mind, it's creating in the background for me. So, I mean, my day looks so different than it used to. I'm so much slower, not just because I'm older, but because I have long COVID. And that is not a fun thing. And I have a whole list of diagnoses and everything from having COVID. So from going from being super healthy to not, when you talk about self-care, which is so important to me, I didn't even know what that was. When I owned a salon and spa, I was actually kind of not very nice about these snotty moms that would come in and be able to get their pedicures. And I mean, now it just seems like it's more common now, but I mean, we're talking, 20, 25 years ago, I started my salon. 25. And I'm just saying, I would it was that judgment there. It was like, oh, you got a babysitter and you get to come and get your feet done. And I mean, it wasn't the problem that I was doing it. It was the problem with me that they were actually taking time out for themselves to get it. So that was something I had to work on. And that's like, I'm thinking now looking back, good for them. They learned it early. I didn't take that self-care. I was just like in crisis mode all the time, raising kids. I mean, we had 7 teenagers in the house at one time. It was nuts. And I was president or chair about everything in my town. So, and had 3 companies, so we were just like, so it was just that survival mode. I mean, sure, I was on the soccer field with my kids at their game on the phone with a real estate deal. Was I present? That's the point I'm making, is that wasn't present, right? Now I can't even remember what the question was. There's my long COVID kicking in.
Just with some of the daily habits that you have.
Oh yeah. So mine looks a little bit differently, because think about it. I have a hyperbaric. That was one of my miracles. I have a lot of miracles that happened during this whole story. But one of them was that I was able to purchase my own hyperbaric. And another one was that I had my best real estate year, the year I got sick, and I didn't even work 4 months of it. So there was just miracle after miracle of survival things. So I believe that hyperbaric saved my lungs. I really do. I got in it every single day. It takes 90 minutes. So when you talk about exercising, are you going to exercise? Or are you going to go on your hyperbaric? It's like, that's 90 minutes of your day. And a lot of people can't even commit to 30 minutes doing exercise. And so there had to be some kind of balance for me that, what do I do? And then I couldn't do a lot of exercises because of my lungs, because they were pretty trashed. And so it's just figuring out, I mean, there's so many self-care things people can do that will cost them no money. You could go walk in nature, go stand out in the grass and ground for 5 minutes and just think of all the good things in your life. You'll feel much better. Do breathing techniques. Meditation's free. Taking a hot bath's free. I mean, there's just so many things people don't think of to add to their schedules to keep them on target. But I think taking just 5 minutes for gratitude, whether it be for you in the morning or at night, I'm usually too tired at night. I grab time out in a second. I learned early on that when I'm stressed, okay, and I just worry about things, then you don't sleep and then you don't function because you don't get sleep. So I learned so I would take that thought, for instance, this is just a little technique I have. I would take, and my thoughts are going all over. I would picture clouds floating by. That thought would come. Okay, I don't want to sit and think about this all night. That thought would go on that cloud and I'd watch it fly away. And the next one, I kept doing that. Usually I was asleep before I had too many clouds because I fell asleep fast. But then I wasn't worried about it all night. I wasn't thinking, because tomorrow's a new day and everybody gets to start over every day. If today's not so great, well, make tomorrow great. And there's always something great in every day.
Wow.
That's a very practical tip that somebody could just start implementing right now, and it may help.
Man, I'm gonna be putting stuff on the cloud all the time. Let me put this on the cloud.
Creators have to. You got to let it go.
Oh man.
Man.
All right. So Holly, we're about to go into this final segment, and this is actually Ted's favorite part of the show. It's
It is.
called
Okay.
Write This Down.
And I can tell you today, it's really not. I'm really not gonna like it. I'm really not gonna like this segment of the show.
So this is the part of the program where we each will go around and we'll leave the audience with one memorable tip or item from today's episode that we want them to write down so they can level up. So Holly, I mean, you're our guest of honor. What should the people write down based off of today's episode?
Ooh, okay, this is what just came up for me. Lead the way that you want to be followed.
Wow.
I don't know what else to say other than that. I think that says it all for what I'm thinking.
Lead the way you want to be followed.
Lead the way you want to be followed. So if you want to be a good leader and be a good leader, you want good people to follow you, then that's how you need to lead so that good people will follow you.
Oh, that's great.
I would say create what you don't have. If you don't have a good leader, or you are in a coaching group or a mastermind that's not working for you, go create your own.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of these great companies started from frustration, right? Somebody got frustrated with what they were in, or they got frustrated with the taxi cab experience, so they created something better. They called Uber. No, I think that's great. Both. I mean, some good stuff to write down. All right. Thank you, Holly, for sharing that. All right, Ted.
Yeah, I knew she was going to come up with something really tough to follow. The more, when we first started off the show and Eric was saying, wow, like Holly's story is gonna, it's gonna be like so like amazing. And I was kind of like that, right? Until I started hearing it. And I was just like, man, like, whoa, like, because everyone has an amazing story, but just listening to your story, I was like, man, like all the things that you've dealt with and been through and all of that. And, and I often have this statement that I'm dealing with people as a entrepreneur and staff, and people always got stuff. Like everything that I'm in, where I'm in leadership position, whether it's in a company or a church or an organizations or whatever, it's like it's always people with stuff. And I have this saying that I'm like, everyone has a box of your stuff, right? Like whether your stuff is, financial stuff, family stuff, or health stuff, like whatever's in your box, like everyone's got a box. And I realized that, people oftentimes, they just want to talk about the stuff that they're dealing with in their box. Not necessarily wanting you to help them to come up with a solution about it, but just to kind of keep talking about the stuff that's in their box. And I, I've had recent situations with staff where I'm like, okay, well, I hear you. No, well, you're not hearing me. I am hearing you. Like I hear you. I hear there's some financial struggles. I hear you that this is going on and that's going on. But everybody's got a box. Like there's so many other people that have that. Like when you look at some of the things that's happened with these mass layoffs in the government agencies, and all those people got boxes. Right? That, how are they going to take care of their mortgage, kids in school, whatever. Like everybody's got these boxes. And then, so it's like, how do you, take the time to stop and think about, okay, how am I going to deal with this box, no matter how small one person's box is, or you may even I may assume Eric's box and Holly's box is so much smaller than mine because they may not talk about it. But their box could be, I listen to Holly's story and I'm like, whoa, like, let me just keep this box I got right here because that, let me count my blessings. Let me have some gratitude because listen to that, the things that you went through and to be here today, it's like, man, wow, like that's everybody has a box and you just don't, like I said, you don't look like what you said you've been through.
Oh,
Right.
thanks.
Yeah, and I can just believe that a lot of that is mindset, right? That you were like, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to push through. This is in the box. This is what I dealt with, and I'm on the other side of that, and I can deal with whatever. And so, yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. We all have a box, and we choose how to deal with the box we have, but need to know that everyone, not just us, has a box.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Ted. People need to write that down about the box. And sometimes I think social media, you have to be careful with strolling that all the time, because it will lead you to believe that certain people don't have boxes and that you have a box, but like I have a box and Ted doesn't, just because I see Ted posting these photos and he's at this place and he's doing this thing and he's got his company and all that.
Yeah.
But Ted may have a huge box.
Right.
I
want this. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you have to be careful with that whole streaming that strolling with social media. And I think that's a great point with the box.
Can I just say, I love that analogy. One of my books, actually my very first book that I came out with, is called Inbox, Outbox, Unbox, No Box, 4 Steps to Delete Your Box Thinking. And it does like a little personality quiz and then teaches you in your personality how to step out of your box. And I just love that. I mean, it's so true. Yeah.
That's great.
Can you say the name of your book again? I know people are just jumping to try to go order it. So
yeah, it's super easy to read. You can read it in like 30 minutes. It's short. It does a little quiz. If you were a shoe, what kind of shoe would you be? And then it talks about your shoe style, and that's how you step out of your box. So it's called Inbox, Outbox, Unbox, No Box, 4 Steps to Delete Your Box Thinking.
All right. Yeah. Somebody needs to write that down too. Go ahead and order it. All right. Good stuff. Thank you for sharing that. So my contribution to this segment, write this down. Pay attention to your intuition. I thought that was a great point that Holly was making earlier. And when we talk about transforming challenges and opportunities, when I look back, a lot of the challenges I've had was because I didn't listen to my intuition. So some of my challenges I brought on myself, because I would interview somebody and then they said a lot of the right things, but my gut was saying, no, stay away from him, stay away from her, don't do it, I'm telling you. And I just went ahead, and it ended up not working out. Important to do that and just really get in the habit of thinking about how does this feel, right? And a lot of times when you're trying to do something, like I even go back to, like, for example, partner with a billionaire, right? It seems like a no-brainer decision for anybody. Right? But that's the thing where you kind of get that feeling in your gut, like, I know it looks right, but don't do it. And I think you have to pay attention to your intuition. So please take that as a note and write that down.
Great point.
Yeah. All right, Holly, this has been a fantastic episode. How can people connect with you?
Well, my email is holly@hollyporter.com, just like it sounds, with a Y on Holly. And I'm on all social media platforms, some more than others, but you can check me out there.
Okay, and is there anything on you do retreats? You've got books. Is there anything else special that you wanted to make our audience aware of?
Well, I don't know when let's see. We're 11/11's my book launch. So, and I'll tell you the title, but it could change, but I think it's going to be Retreat Forward, My Journey from NDE to CEO. So watch for that.
Yeah, I saw what you did there, Holly. Retreat Forward. That's good.
That's why it'll probably be the title. I like it.
That's good. I'll make sure I read that, and we'll have to have you back on again, after releases to talk about it.
You guys are great.
Thank you so much. You are as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic episode. And for those of you watching and listening, don't forget to share the show. That's right. All right, don't keep this great information a secret. And don't forget, you can go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all of those places and hit the follow or subscribe button. That way you'll never miss an episode. And that's our time this week on the 30-Minute Hour podcast. Thank you again to Holly Porter. Until next time, have a great